Welcome back to The Charismatic Voice and to another Dimash Monday. We're going to be taking a look at a song today that was originally made famous in 1975 by singer-songwriter Eric Carmen. This will be All By Myself. But many of you probably don't know it from 1975 as much as you know it from 1996, when Celine Dion did an incredible cover of it that just topped the charts. Now, Dimash sang the song in 2017 as a part of the Singer competition, and it is one of the few songs from Singer that I have yet to hear him do. So, let's get to it.
And making love was just for fun. Thus there you go.
This intro is such fantastic songwriting. I love the words in it. They really draw you into a story right away with when, right? When I was young, it tells you where, and then those days are gone. It tells you that there's a big journey that's been made. It's really, really good songwriting. I love also that it's just simple and wonderful, and Dimash knows to just leave it simple here. He's not going to try and add anything on top. The best way to deliver this beginning is just do it simply with a tender voice, not you don't need to flourish or do anything vocally really exciting. Just let the message carry itself. Nicely done.
I think of all the friends I know, but when I die the day before, nobody's home.
Just a quick word to say, I'm really, really enjoying this arrangement. I love seeing a full orchestra included. It's really great to sing with so many instruments as well. You can feel the support from them in the form of the vibrations that they're creating in the air. Their sound waves, they like seep into your body, and it's so wonderful then to just let your vocal folds vibrate in a similar way. So I love seeing that they have put the funds and production into having a full orchestra here. It looks like pretty full, and they even have a harp on stage as well. So really, really, really lovely production. Thank you to whoever wrote this arrangement, and thank you to whoever spent the money on hiring all of these musicians. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Wait, we gotta go back and listen to this one more time. This is interesting. He's being so smart here. He knows that this taste of chorus it's quiet. He's keeping it just like hovering. He's not even giving it like a laser-like line or like even the legato line. He's kind of just zhuzhing each note by giving it like a little bit like poof, 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 rather than just a driving through. And that leaves us somewhere to go. Because if he already gives it very much line at this point, he's going to have to give it way more later. And we know that Dimash is a master of taking us on a journey. So he's so smart about how he's not giving too much at this point. Listen to it. Ooh, let's go back just a little bit further. It's very gentle. That was very smart.
Sometimes it feels the answer no. se distance heavy skull. Remind this fool. All by myself. So wanna be all by myself anymore. All by myself. So wanna live all by myself anymore.
Woo! So this time it had that line. It had a lot more of the drive going through it, right? It sounded more belted for sure. And so we're starting to get a lot more of a journey. I feel like he's probably going to take it somewhere else still. So maybe he'll add even more line. He'll probably take it up higher at some point because it's Dimash. But the other thing that I'm noticing in here, sort of a double-edged compliment, this is early Dimash, right? So this is 2017 to 2020 today. And we know that he's been really working on the English pronunciation throughout. His L-colored vowels are really quite good. This is one of the more difficult sounds for people whose first language isn't English to really get. So anytime he says by myself, that's an E vowel with an L coloration on top. So there's like an approximation in the tongue for that enunciation of the L. Self. That can be a very difficult sound to make and get right on. And he's doing a very good job of that. Even all is, again, has some L coloration in it. So it's not just ah or ul, but all. And that glide, or that approximation on the way in it's difficult for many, many non-native English speakers to get, but he's nailing it here. It's very, very nicely done. Go back just a little bit so you can hear that.
All by myself.
It's really good. Getting you in the Beast vibes right now. Oh, well, that was a really lovely instrumental interlude, right? Very magical, very enchanting. I loved having this it was a very pure, magical kind of voice. It sounds almost like a young girl singing, maybe. I didn't ever get to see who was singing that on the screen here. But it was a really nice addition. I could see that that'd be an excellent break for a lot of singers between belting big sections. It might be a nice time to have a little bit of rest vocally. I don't think that Dimash needed that moment of rest, but I thought it was a really nice addition to the arrangement, so I liked it. Let's keep going.
I never needed anyone, and making love was just for fun. To stay cold.
Ooh. I liked his little there. Let's hear it one more time. That was really, it was tender and lovely.
All by myself, to wanna be all by myself anymore.
Whoa! Woo! Okay. this was just full of nice little surprises. I love that at the beginning, when he went back to All By Myself, I expected him to like just dive straight into it. And instead, he was in his lower octave in that sort of like deeper tone. That was nice. And then when he jumped up higher, I was like, oh, we're going to jump up higher in the same one. Okay, here we go. And then I loved, there was a re-attack that he did after he'd already been singing the note for a while. It was down a downbeat. He reattached the note again. And then he kept going. It was like, not only can I sing low and high, but I can have amazing runs and do it all in one breath. That was really awesome. Okay, let's go back a little bit. See if we can catch that again. Oh, perfect timing. There's the re-attack. Ooh, nice laser runs in there. Okay, I feared stopping him too much here because it sounds like he's like getting into a really nice groove. We've got somewhere to go. But there's a really interesting thing that I'm picking up here that I think that some of you might also enjoy hearing about a little bit. So I'm going to dive into it. It's fun getting to know Dimash from like later Dimash and earlier Dimash and seeing his journey. He has a background in classical training and has been going more and more towards pop. And it's interesting to hear a couple of things in here. When he gets up into his top range, he gets a lot more of that laser-like tone, which I feel like he's developed a lot more for his pop sound in songs today. But for classical, he has like that rounder tone. So that's really useful in the lower areas. He transitions into more laser-like, kind of just really clean forward placement in his music today. He transitions to that placement earlier than he did back then. That might just, make it a little easier and have helped him to get a few more notes on top. And he also, I think, uses a little bit less vibrato in that same area. So that would just be a choice on his end of saying, oh, for this sort of stylization, I want to have a little bit less vibrato before transitioning up to my full belt. So just really interesting things. I'd love to hear, I might even go back and do one sometime, like a side-by-side comparison, looking at that area of his voice and how that has changed over time. You can hear it a little bit here.
All by myself, wanna be all by myself.
So right there, when he goes up into all, it has a little more dome and roundness to it than I think he would choose to do today. And one's not better or worse. It's just his direction and choice of where he wants to take his voice now.
Wanna be all by myself.
That's cool. That was so cool. Instead of doing like a run that went somewhere else, he was essentially doing a turn where he went around the same note over and over. Listen to that one more time. That was a really cool stylization. I love that. I think that that's the end. We're going to go back and watch this last part though. This was really cool. So Dimash essentially just did an operatic cadenza within a pop song. And it was so exciting to me from the first moment where he messed with the silence. So silence is like such a useful tool. So when he had the big pause and all the instruments dropped away, in many pop songs or mainstream songs today, which we'll see, is there's like an expected time for the sound to re-enter. It might enter, on a normal beat, as if it was keeping the tempo, or maybe like double slow. But there's usually some sort of mathematical equation there for knowing when it's going to re-enter. In opera, at the end of arias, sometimes there's something called a cadenza. And in this moment, the singer gets to determine the timing all on their own. There's no other instrumentation beneath them. And figuring out how to extend that silence is really, really tricky. You've got nerves going, so your time sense is a little bit distorted. But also, you have to judge from the audience around you. What you want to do is add to the tension. You want to like draw their ears in a little bit more. And that's exactly what he did. But you have to draw that in by saying like, oh, it's silent a little longer than you expected. Haha, what's going to happen next? But if you wait for too long, that tension will start to dissipate. So you want to catch that tension at like the top of the wave of the tension. And you did it really well here. I loved that. Love that. So this moment of silence is just golden. Okay. We're going to go back and start with that and then look at the rest of the cadenza. I don't know if that's it. Ooh, that was it. Okay. Okay, this part has some ornamentation that sounds faintly like traditional Kazakh singing, an ornamentation we've heard from music from his background. And I love that he's pulling that into a pop context. But it was really fun to also hear this flip into his falsetto at one point, from his full voice into his falsetto. Really, really lovely. Okay, let him keep going.
No.
That's so good. I love the other contestants' faces there at that moment. That's exactly what they should be looking at or looking like. That's hilarious. He is onsetting a bunch of high notes over and over. So onset is that moment when the air goes past your vocal folds and you start to make a sound. Your vocal folds start going wacka, wacka, wacka to like vibrate. Anyhow, so this moment of an onset is really tricky, but really important for great, clean singing. And Dimash does it perfectly here. You don't hear any extra noise happening. You don't hear him doing like glottal attacks. It's just really, really clean onsets on a high note, which is the most difficult kind of note to onset well on. So that's partly why that is so impressive. He does it over and over, like, ha 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 ha. Hear how well I can onset on this high note. And all of their faces are like, oh, that's so hard. So I love that moment. That was really good. Listen to it and appreciate it one more time.
No.
That's awesome. I even love that he knows how well he nailed it. You can see in the way he charges the microphone up to this guy. He's like, yeah, I got it. That was one fantastic cadenza. It's so awesome that Dimash can still surprise and delight. We've had a number of Dimash videos on this channel, but I did not expect an operatic cadenza to just happen. It was so awesome. And it was also great to hear different stylings coming into it. Of course, you have some Kazakh traditional singing and this ornamentation, but that's like mixed in with a little bit of almost like Mariah Carey has R&B soul kind of feeling to it, all within pop styling. And then, of course, you have your classical cadenza format that he was using. It was just delightful to hear all of that in these last few moments. What a great climactic ending to this song, and just fantastic overall progression of it. I loved, once again, hearing him start it with that tenderness so that he had a long ways to go. Dimash is a master of crafting that, and I really think that he inspires many, many other singers to do the same now. Thank you to all of you for recommending this. I'm so glad to get to finally watch it. It was just awesome. And I hope that you'll continue to make recommendations down below in the comment section of this video. Also, please come and join me on Mondays. Every other Monday is Dimash Mondays. And then I'm here on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 8 a.m. Arizona time. And then if you want to find me somewhere else, you can find me on Patreon and also at thecharismaticvoice.com. I'll see you somewhere soon.